There's a video here I was going to look also from Preach, and it's about add-ons. Now, this is the video. Preach has played World of Warcraft at a very high level for years, and he's played Final Fantasy now at a at an ERP level. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. And so we'll see what he thinks about the add-ons, because it's quite a lot. Check Twitter, Avalanche. Let me do this right now. Okay, I gotta focus on this. Here we go.
How about now?
Oh my god.
I prefer you with less add-ons. I said less add-ons.
Is he gonna go to New World?
Perfection.
Jesus Christ. Okay, that's great. Yeah, what if... The intro, man. Holy shit. The chat bubbles? Yeah.
Add-ons, add-ons, add-ons. Everybody's got an opinion these days on add-ons, haven't they? It's been an argument that has been brought up to the fire ever since the last Race to World First in Sepulchre, as people find it outrageous, the amount of add-on use, certainly in World of Warcraft, that is utilized in order to make fights easier. And World of Warcraft is not alone in this. In fact, it's a widespread discussion that happens across every MMOs. And wouldn't you know it, within the past couple of weeks, that fire has been lit.
Oh yeah,
Final
people have been
Fantasy
molding
14
about
as
this.
well. So it's worth talking about add-ons and their usage, because once again, in most cases, gamers have very clearly decided on which camp they're in, but it's just not that easy a situation.
Oh, absolutely.
So, in World of Warcraft, it's a case of we're watching these teams on payroll, like they're actively paying these people, usually 3 or 4 people, to come to the World First events, and that means they are considered as important as everybody else who is there at those events, and their job is to make add-ons. They do other tasks besides.
That's so dumb. Bro, I'm gonna be honest, like, that is the dumbest thing. You have people that, like, their job is to make an add-on for the game. Like, I'm sorry, but in my opinion, I think that add-ons, like combat add-ons that help you in a fight, delete. Get rid of them. I don't want them in any game. I think that all it does is it increases, like, anytime somebody has to do that, it's fucking annoying. I don't care about chat bubbles, okay? I think chat bubbles in Final Fantasy is something that should be in the base game. Whenever I first started playing it and there was no chat bubbles, I was pissed off. I didn't see why that was the case. And I don't really want to download an add-on because it's like a third-party thing, and like, what the fuck, right? Like, I don't know how this works. And I think that there are a lot of casual players that you guys don't even see that are just like the casual Andes. They're the guys that just log on and, you know, like, fucking, there's a cat girl and she's hot and that's about it, right? Like, they're not going to go and download a fucking add-on for stuff. So you can't rely on add-ons to, like, just be... And I think WoW is the same way, too. And just in general, I wish that they only had UI add-ons and no combat add-ons, period. In World of Warcraft, in Final Fantasy, in Lost Ark, in New World. No combat add-ons, period.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeet.
When you'll see those leaders, be it Max or be it Scripe, drop into different channels and say, this is what we need. And while that's happening, other people, these tech analysts, are also letting people know what they need. And these teams scurry and busy and get to work creating very specific weak auras or whatever it might be to then make the fights easier for the guys. If they get a nice diagram.
I think that's the main thing is, right, why would they spend money to have somebody on the team to make the add-ons if the add-ons didn't give them an advantage? They obviously do, or they wouldn't pay them to do it.
Where they should go. If you look at the jailer, it pre-plans which bomb holes you should be going in. So
bomb left.
Confusion. And in many cases, they're building extra
look at the fucking add-on. Look at the fucking right there, right there. Back left, back middle, right, bomb.
Jeez.
Look at this. They literally tell you what to do.
I mean, yeah, but look. I mean, look at Mythic Archimon. You know what I mean? That would have been fucking impossible, bro.
No, it wouldn't.
That shit was hard. Without an add-on to tell you?
You're just supposed to get in a circle. That's what Ian said. You're supposed to get in a circle around them.
No.
That's what he said. And that's
That
how they
wouldn't work.
tested it. Yeah, it probably wouldn't work. They probably tested it whenever they were like immune from damage. And they would just keep making mistakes. And they did it right once. And they said that's good enough. Yeah, you're right. They probably didn't test it and it would have been garbage. But like, yeah, for sure. The thing is, but why is that even in the game then? Why is it in the game if it's like that? It's garbage.
Boss mods that not only say this mechanic is happening soon, but also giving warnings to individuals. You need to be in your position in 10 seconds. Things like that
It's
are very
crazy.
commonplace when it comes to the most difficult of difficult fights. But Final Fantasy XIV has also run into this recently. The new Ultimate fight, the new Dragon Song Ultimate that just took place in Final Fantasy XIV was and is widely considered the most difficult fight Final Fantasy XIV has ever managed to produce.
That's what they say.
And took the best of the best of the best just as long to kill the one fight as it did for a lot of big races in the MMO space. Now, during the streaming of this, people could hear that add-ons were in use. Simple add-ons that were giving sort of vocal notifications as to when things were coming or which way to face, things like that. And people did not like that because Final Fantasy XIV is well known for being an add-on free game. Quotation marks. Quotation marks. Add-on free.
That's the way WoW should be. Like, I think that it's bad that WoW designs fights for add-ons. I actually think that it makes the game unironically worse. Straight up. I think that it does, and I think that they make fights more complicated and more complex because they're accounting for people having these resources. How is that possibly good? How could that possibly be good for the game?
Didn't you already talk about this with Ian?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, what did he say again about it?
He said he didn't like add-ons that were computational, but he was okay with add-ons that gave you information. That's what he said. And I'm sorry, but look at this right here. I think that's a fucking computation. That's a straight up fucking computation where it tells you where to go because it's not giving you the equation, it's giving you the answer. I absolutely think so. Like, yeah, 100%. What the fuck is computation? What I mean is that, like, it's not telling you what the cooldown on something is, which in my opinion, I think that should also not be an add-on too. I think that, again, any player should be able to easily detect what's happening in the game with the same level of awareness as everybody else. Because once you have different people approaching the fight on different levels of difficulty, then you just suddenly get into a realm where nobody knows what's really going on. Yeah, nobody knows what's going on because, like, you can't design fights like you designing it for, like, the people that don't have the tools or the people that do have the tools, and it's just worse.
Fuck the tools!
Which way to face, things like that, and people did not like that because Final Fantasy XIV is well known for being an add-on free game. Quotation marks. Quotation marks. Add-on free game. And what people are really talking about, of course, is boss mods. You don't want it to do with boss mods. Final Fantasy XIV goes to massive lengths to make sure that what's happening is visually shown to you. The boss will raise his right arm if he's going to destroy the right-hand side of the room. He will turn to you if he's going to target something. There will be icons and indicators trying to show you what is supposed to be happening. Now, of course, in the most difficult fights, there's so many things going on, such as trios of mechanics, that can be very difficult to work through, hence where the difficulty in Final Fantasy XIV fights comes from.
Holy shit.
Very complicated things, all happening at once, where lots of players need to coordinate in a very specific way. And seeing add-ons in use got a lot of people upset. So, Yoshi P made a statement. And their statement remains as it has been for a long time. We don't endorse the use of third-party add-ons. We can't specifically check if you're using some of these things, but we don't endorse them. And this isn't just a case of boss mods, but it also extends to the fact that they don't like people using damage meters because often people wield them as a weapon, and we're going to come back to that in a second. But anything that should make fights even easier, because they're obviously very worried about going to where World of Warcraft is right now in discussing add-ons. And recently, in the interview with Asmongold and Ian Hazacostas, they brought up the subject of add-ons as well. It's a very hot topic in both communities, and that's because it affects everybody differently. That's the the thing. That we kind of know, right? I think any logical person can kind of see what FF14 is trying to avoid, and on the vice versa, a lot of World of Warcraft casual players look at something like the Race to World First. They're hearing about things that are like teams of people making add-ons, and a lot of people will look at a World of Warcraft UI and go, what the hell is happening? Like 60% of the screen is add-ons giving me information. I don't want to play a game like that. I want to play a game that's nice and clean and open. Certainly if these communities are interspersed.
Yeah, I think that's another thing. It's like a small issue, but it's like whenever you have people that watch a stream of a game, I think having a uniform UI makes it easier to watch the game because different players can go and watch different streamers and they see the same thing. Yeah, I think it makes it a lot easier. Same house? Yeah, okay, very fucking funny, guys. Hilarious. I've worn this shirt for over a month now, by the way.
Now, wielding as a weapon. This is where we have to set the foundation for how widespread this thing goes. Because when people talk about add-ons, they're kind of using a blanket statement.
Yes.
And some add-ons are good. Let's just face facts. Some add-ons are good.
Yes,
Not
they are.
everything provided by the game developer is perfect.
True.
We can all agree on that everything is perfect.
True.
I have been attacked with this. And I'm not the only one. Because in FF14, no third-party stuff is allowed. However, there's a lot of stuff that's kind of good, and it's just
like
not in
chat
the game.
bubbles. That's
now,
one of them.
I was attacked because I had an add-on installed. In my history of playing Final Fantasy XIV, I have used one add-on. And it was a simple add-on that had nothing to do with encounters, nothing to do with trivializing anything. It was chat bubbles.
So what he's saying is he's a cheater. So Preach Gaming is a cheater. I'm surprised, honestly. You know, like this is... I thought he left that behind, you know, back in Battle for Azeroth, experience potion days, but he just couldn't stop. He couldn't stop himself. He had to cheat in another game as well. That's awful.
Chat bubbles. I don't like looking at chat in a side box on the corner of my game. I often don't notice it. My attention is usually focused on the screen as a whole, and the chat box is kind of unnecessary to me in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And that's how I've played MMOs for probably 10 to 12 years.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is simple. Often, I'm in voice comms with people. If I'm going to talk to people, I talk to them. I literally use my mouth. And if people are trying to do something that's important to me, I can see a chat bubble. World of Warcraft has chat bubbles. It's never been a problem. And therefore, I can see not only who's talking to me, but where they're stood. And that makes me much more engaged with the people I'm surrounded by. Final Fantasy XIV does not have chat bubbles. There are a few reasons behind this, but it made me annoyed, frustrated, because often people would...
The game would be better if it had chat bubbles. That just full stop. The game would just simply be better if it had chat bubbles. Like, and like, that's all there is to it. I mean, yeah, sure. I think that if you asked Yoshi P, would the game be better if the game had chat bubbles, he would say yes. He would be like, yes, it is, and we're trying to fix it. Like, it's not like they're... I mean, the thing is, the good thing about the people at a lot of these other, like, especially like Square Enix, right, is they'll just say, like, yeah, we think this sucks, we're trying to fix it. Like, that's about it. It's an engine limitation, probably? Yeah, I mean, that could be the case.
If I was going into a group setting or something like that, a lot of people would be saying things simultaneously. And I can't watch what they're doing, especially if they're doing some slight RP thing or something more interesting, is looking away and going on there. I just personally don't like it. And I think it's way more fun when you can see people doing an action and talking at the same time on the screen.
Exactly.
So I was like,
agree.
God, I miss chat bubbles. It was of all the things I missed after playing World of Warcraft for over a decade, the thing that I missed the most was chat bubbles. Especially with so many people around.
Okay.
So people are like, yeah, you can get a plugin that makes that work. And I raised the questions like, isn't that not allowed? It's like, look, this is how this kind of works. Damage meters exist in Final Fantasy XIV.
Yep.
They do. We have logs for Final Fantasy XIV. We have lots of stuff. We have things that make the auction house better. Because you've got to remember, FF14 was designed around consoles. So a lot of stuff doesn't...
The thing is with damage meters is that damage meters make the developer's job harder. Because whenever people can see that one class is outperforming another class, they're going to think to themselves, why is my class bad? Why am I playing the bad class? And why did Square Enix kill Warrior? Why did they kill Dark Knight? Why is Black Mage doing so much less damage? Like, that's at Samurai. Yeah, whatever, right? So that's the problem, is that like damage meters have this issue. Now, a game like Burning Crusade, I think, is great for damage meters because you have classes that don't perform on the same levels because they add different levels of utility. And I think that that's why Ashes of Creation isn't going to have damage meters, is because there are support classes and people are stupid and they're going to see a class and it does less damage, and so it's bad. That's it. It's bad. It does less damage. It's bad. Bad class. And so that's why they get rid of them. And yeah, you're right. That's why they don't want damage meters, is because it makes their life harder.
Really make itself more conducive to a PC environment sometimes. So there are add-ons and stuff that make this easier. There are add-ons to take better pictures, right? There are add-ons to make things just a little bit more convenient. But generally speaking, most of the community is okay with the fact that there's no damage meters, or if you have a damage meter, you don't use that as a weapon.
Right.
Now, after the statement last week, things have been used as a weapon, especially towards streamers, because people can see that we're using add-ons. Now, I just instantly uninstalled mine. I just figured, look, my take on this is simple. In terms of the FF14 stuff, and we'll come back to WoW, is that if it's something they agree with, they're going to add it to the game. Now, I may use these things in the future because...
There we go. And this is what people were doing, is that they were going around and they were spam reporting people for having add-ons. Like it was on 4chan, etc. Now, mass reporters, obviously it's kind of cringe, but the truth is, you don't have to worry about getting mass reported. Like, I don't have to worry about getting mass reported in Final Fantasy at all. Why? Because I'm not breaking the rules. That's the truth. Like, you just don't break the rules. You're never going to get mass reported. Did Pyro even get banned? As far as I know, he didn't. I have no idea, though.
They're clearly not what FF14 was attacking, but I have a bad experience, let's just say, with thinking things are okay and them not being. I have been banned in the past, as is well documented, when I thought things were like, oh, okay, they clearly don't care about this thing, and so we'll go ahead and do it. But I'm going to read the what's happening with the player base. I'm going to see if this kind of moves on, because as far as I'm concerned, and I think Squeenix probably agrees with me on this, chat bubbles ain't shit. They're not what they're targeting. Their post describing this problem with add-ons was specifically around encounters and making the game easier in some way, especially when they're trying to produce these most difficult fights. What they don't want is something like weak auras coming in. But, of course, it's been wielded as a weapon.
Nobody wants weak auras. Like, I think that... Do you guys think that the high-end raiders actually like weak auras? Or do you think that they just like the usage that they provide? Like, because I feel like a lot of people, they like being able to have them in the context that they're necessary. But I feel like what I've heard from other high-end raiders is like, we like having these tools, but we wish we didn't have to have them. I don't know. Like, yeah, it's... I remember, like, Scripe made like a post about this before. Yes, same thing. Not necessarily. I guess it is a very small distinction that's hard to make sense out of. Polls? I mean, there's not really much of a sense to make a poll. I need to take a piss, guys. I'll be right back. Give me a second. It's just, I think it's just there's too many tools, man. Too much stuff. I'll be right back.
And I got Gladiator. And I got the mount. I got it with Grayson and Flop. And it was awesome. I'm really happy.
I'm back. Give me a sec. I'm gonna get my headphones on. What the fuck are you telling them?
Nothing.
Okay. All right. Okay. Nothing.
Well,
what?
I did say one thing.
What?
Twitch Prime.
Okay. Okay. I don't think. Does that even work anymore? Come on. We've got to get at least like 3 of them, right? All right. Drake. All right, it's 1. Good job. Good job, McConnell. We got 1. 4. Okay, that's good. 5, 7. Okay. Somehow it still fucking works. Holy shit. Wow. All right, Bob's with the 10 gift. Jesus Christ, guys. Asa Blitz with the 20 gifted subs. Holy shit. Oh my fucking God. Of course it works. Wow, thank you. Thank you very much, boys. Thank you. Holy shit, that's a lot. Mr. Green, thank you, McConnell.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Yeah, okay, good enough. All right, thank you guys for all the subs. I appreciate that. Garma, etc., 5 gifted subs. Thank you very much. All right, let's get to the video. Here we go.
And several streamers have been attacked and
you,
reported
guys.
constantly and taken down and had their accounts banned.
Yeah.
People who took part in the Ultimate have had their accounts taken down. Now, you may
That's
agree or
right.
disagree with that, and that's not my position here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking to talk about add-ons in general, and then coming back to World of Warcraft. So that's happened, and people are always going to do that, especially if they don't like that streamer, especially if they disagree with them, or they say something they don't like. They're going to wield this as a weapon, and we have seen that happen, and that's
This is what I would do, is I like whenever somebody would talk shit to me in WoW, I would make them mad and continue the conversation until they said something that was against the TOS, and then I would report them and put them on ignore. Because like if I'm like I'm gonna fuck around with this guy, right? Like somebody's gonna start shit with me. Like I'm gonna go for the throat, man. Like I'm gonna try to get you in trouble. You wanna fucking be a little bitch? That's what you're gonna get. You live like a bitch, you're gonna die like a bitch. That's the way it goes.
Right. That's not great.
I don't have any
is to have
problem with
this
that.
kind of attitude of attack when it's clearly not what this was designed around,
Yeah.
and they're basically asking you to use common logical sense in these situations. Over in World of Warcraft, a lot of people after the last Race World First were just like, let's flat out ban add-ons. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft was designed from day one with add-on usage in mind, similar to many games that you'll find on Steam that endorse workshops and
absolutely.
things like that. And who can
Yep.
play Skyrim
Put that
anymore
extra 5
unmodded?
subs.
Somebody out there will, and somebody does play World of Warcraft with 0 add-ons. Somebody everywhere does that thing. But the game is designed with it in mind. The standard WoW UI has
Looks a
gotten
lot
better,
better.
and they're making more
God
improvements
damn.
in Dragonflight, but let's face facts, it's kind of dog shit, right? It's kind of dog shit.
It is not kind of dog shit. It's dog shit. Like this frame. This looks like something from a mobile game.
Bro,
It does.
You know that,
It's so bad.
you know what it reminds me of a little bit?
What?
Rift.
You know what it reminds me of? Is, you know those screenshots of those, like, WoW rip-off Facebook games?
Yeah.
I could see this screenshot right here being like, enjoy World of Dragons. And it's like, obviously World of Warcraft. And it has like these different frames here. And it's like some random dragon that you run around in. You know, like on Facebook? I never played Rift, so I don't know. I said, fuck that.
Dude, Rift was, man, dude, let me tell you something, man.
Okay.
Dude, Rift had these amazing talent trees, bro.
Okay.
Dude, oh my god, they like that was the one, dude. If they put like, if Blizz found some way,
Yeah.
to like copy the Rift like talent trees, or the way they did that shit in Rift over to WoW, it would be incredible. I swear to God, it was so fucking cool because you put points at the top, right?
Yeah.
And then you would get abilities from that thing on the very bottom. You could like track like what you're about to get or whatever.
Yeah.
And then but the top would be like the talent point system like they had in Classic, right? And it was like, but you would have 3 of them, so you could like build 3 different like types of things, and it would be so fucking sick, man. Rift was really cool
Holy
at first.
shit. Oh
At
my
first,
God.
it was really cool. It was really cool.
Then did they make it pay to win?
I don't know what happened. I stopped playing, but
Nah,
it
fuck
was
it.
good.
Yeah.
Shit. And the reason it's dog shit is because they expect you to use add-ons to alter it and change it to however you want it to be, and they encourage that behavior. Now, it's not to say World of Warcraft hasn't taken a stance when people cross the line. That has happened many, many times. We all know about AVR, or if you don't, AVR
Yep.
and Wrath of the Lich King, which literally projected textures of where you should
They just
stand
put little
to avoid
circles on the
mechanics
ground.
onto the game.
There you go.
I'm not joking. That add-on existed. That add-on existed.
was
which
great.
is like, here's a big red circle on the floor. Stand there and you're fine.
Yep.
And you'll never get hit by this mechanic.
It would have the
Obviously,
arrows
that
and shit,
massively
too.
trivialized so many encounters because this add-on was able to read where projectiles were going, where nasty
Yep.
things were going to happen, and say, this is the safe space. If you go and stand there, and we'll literally put a big circle on the floor, that's where you go and stand, and you avoid all this horrible things that are happening. And people were overcoming bosses they should have no hope of defeating.
That was so fucking funny whenever they added that into the game. So, like, that's what happens. Like, that's where the game goes if you don't rein this shit in. That's exactly what it is.
to saying that Wing Buffet is coming in 10 seconds or the big explosion is coming in 20 seconds. That is far beyond that line. A boss mod will tell you when things are happening.
Oh my
or when
God.
things happen, you have a certain nasty debuff. But what it's not doing is saying, like, everybody go here, and you could literally trace a map where everybody needed to go in order to avoid ever getting hit by these mechanics. And that was mad. So they drew a line.
Yeah.
If we go back to Star Augur, we know that Blizzard decided that they had to cut off parts of the API again because people trivialize.
Look at this shit. Look what they did. Whoa, wait, well, one more frame. Oh, here we go. Almost. They've got everything written down there. So it literally tells you everywhere to go. Really, really great game, guys. Totally, totally unnecessary. Why is this even possible?
Trivialize the hardest mechanic in that fight. The Grand Conjunction, where you had to pair up with people with certain icons above your head, where they had add-ons that would simply say, you go to the big blue square and you are fine. And everything will be fine and nobody's going to get hit, and you're going to win and overcome the most difficult part of this fight. This fight is entirely designed around this mechanic.
They did. They changed this afterwards. They changed the way that weak auras, because this was a weak aura that was written for, I think Exorcist had an even stronger weak aura for this. But yeah, even with all that, people still fuck it up. Yeah, I know.
Uses area denial to make this mechanic even harder, and if you trivialize that mechanic using add-ons, then the fight is worthless, and now we have to rethink, and this is the important thing, we have to rethink how we do fights in the future, because we can no longer use this type of mechanic because you guys are going to make it super easy.
Exactly.
So does that mean
and now that, like, the fight is being designed around people that do this stuff. Everything's being designed around this add-on, and not about the actual quality of the game.
Add-ons should be destroyed? Absolutely not. That's crazy. That's crazy. Just like there should be some flexibility about more stricter rules over in FF14. There's a fine line to be had. There is always going to be that, but it's not an easy line to find, in my opinion.
Yeah, of course not.
That's where it comes down to. Is clearly stuff I'm doing and other people are doing enhances their game experience without any negative effect happening on the design of the game or implementation.
True.
What people are right is like, that makes it so that you can keep kind of pushing that and then making them come back. And frankly, the FF14 devs can't be fucking bothered to deal with that, and I don't blame them. They would rather say, look, we don't endorse any of this, and if we see something we don't like, we're just going to...
it's a simple solution because it's not it's not complex or anything like that. It's very simple, and that's all there is to it. Asma, I'm getting back into retail, but the boosting and the hand-holding by add-ons is making the game almost pointless. Like, what's the fucking point? Let me explain what the point of WoW is, okay? First thing you do is you buy the game. Then you buy the expansion. Then you buy the sub. And then you buy the boost. And then you buy the WoW token to buy the gold to buy the boost for the raid. And then you buy the other WoW token to buy the gear on the auction house that you need to transition it into tier gear. And then you buy another WoW token in order to buy a boost for ahead of the curve so you can get that gear. And then after you buy that WoW token, you have to buy another WoW token in order to buy the enchants and like the gems and for your legendary. So basically what you do is you spend all you do is spend money on the game until you don't want to play it anymore. That's the way it works. Yeah, it's simple. That's the way it worked in Burning Crusade. Remember that? You buy Burning Crusade, you buy your sub, you buy your Dark Portal Pass, you buy your level 58, you buy your Slave Pins Mage boosting, you buy your gold, you buy your Karazhan GDKP raid, you buy your items on the auction house, you buy your PvP carry, you buy your arena cap, and finally, after all of that, you're finally ready to play the game. Duh. That's the way you play WoW now.
Crack down on it.
That's what's fun,
because it makes our lives infinitely easier. And if there's something you guys are all doing, maybe we can implement it into the game ourselves, which is what I'm hoping for with things like chat bubbles, because it makes our experience so much better and is entirely innocent. That's my stance on it. You might disagree and say they said no. They said no.
Yep.
They did say no. I don't have it installed. I uninstalled it immediately.
Yep.
Because I'm not risking getting banned. There's just no purpose to it. Over in World of Warcraft, can you imagine playing that game with no add-ons? Now, some of you will be like, well, I play with no add-ons, but I'm going to say your experience is
I'm sorry to
way
hear
shitter than
that.
what I experienced. That's the fact. Like, having things, like, especially considering a lot of the game since day one, this is not a modern thing. This isn't a Dragonflight thing. This isn't a Shadowlands thing. Are absolutely designed with the very fast-paced, very proactive and reactive gameplay that is in World of Warcraft, far, far, far quicker than what you'll find in FF14, is designed because you should know these things are happening, that horrible spells are casting, being able to mark mobs very quickly in massive packs, because you can pull extraordinarily large things with huge amounts of things going on. This is just in dungeons and things like that.
Yeah,
because
and the
they kind of
add-ons
expect that
manage
you're
it.
going to have something going on. Now, personally, I do think weak auras go too far. I'm not on one side or the other here. UI add-ons, all that kind of stuff is fine. I personally would love to see some fights that have stuff like this disabled, to see how...
I would like to see all fights like this to have stuff like this disabled. It would just be great. In my opinion, I would be happy. Like, it's very obvious, for example. I think it's intellectually dishonest to say all add-ons are the same. It's very different to have, like, a chat bubble add-on or a G-Shade add-on or something that changes your toolbars and something like weak auras or a damage meter. They are not all the same. All add-ons are not created equal. There are some add-ons that give you tremendous advantages and other add-ons that just give you an extra level of like awareness or character design, sliders, things like this. So I think everybody knows that there's a spectrum that add-ons exist in. But in my opinion, I think that the spectrum is like this, that there's a line. Is it like on one side of the line, there are add-ons that make up for weaknesses in the game, like chat bubbles, cooldown timers on certain debuffs, and things like that, different types of UI stuff. And then on the other side of the coin, these are the bad add-ons that give you advantages that the game does not want you to have, but it gives them to you anyway. So I'm talking about like weak auras, DBM, AVR, that kind of stuff, right? It's like two different things: quality of life and awareness and player power and player potency increases. Like there's two different categories.
They do. I'm trying to put together something where we'll see a raid with zero add-ons. Like, how do people perform under those pressures? Because it creates all sorts of weird situations where the race or people interested in the race are saying it's not competitive because people just can't have add-on creators on standby. We don't have a payroll to make that happen. But at the same time, do I want to see things like auction house mods disabled? Not really.
No.
Like, the auction house is better, but it's still not great. Do I really want to see my UI disappear? No. And as rightly pointed out by Ian in the interview with Asmon, is that if there are things that they have to disable in order to make certain add-ons not work, which have a ripple effect. If we disable this part of the API, which is the code that people use to get add-on information and then relay that back to the player, if we disable part of that, then no longer do you have things like a slightly better health bar. Is that what you really want? Because I imagine a lot of people don't. It's a very fine line and no easy answer. And it's something that I think...
I don't agree with that. I think it's such an obvious answer. Does this add-on give you information that you would not have naturally had? If the answer is yes, then it shouldn't be there. Does this increase your awareness in the fight beyond what a normal player with no add-ons have access to? That's it. It's not that simple, but it actually is. The answer isn't always clear, though. Name one example of where it's not that clear. Like, give me one example where it's not fucking obvious. A DPS meter? How is a DPS meter like not obvious? Like I don't even understand like what. Yeah, I don't know about that. Because it's not simple from a code perspective, not identifying the circumstances? Yeah, I don't know why you mean, like, I'm just confused. Name frames and HP bars? Yeah, I could see that, sure. Because you could argue that having the duration there would give you awareness that a normal player wouldn't have. But the game should have that. Yeah, I guess there's like that gray area. I guess those would be the ones that would fall into that category. Yeah, sure.
Devs need to keep an eye on, and these blanket wipeout statements that I'm seeing from people is like, it should just be a flat-out no. I totally disagree with. It's not something that can just be destroyed in a heartbeat, and then everybody's happy. Because you're going to upset a lot of people, and I don't think that's necessary. What you need to do is probably take a proactive approach in this. FF14 for me is too hands-on. WoW is too hands-off. There's a place in the middle that can maybe make this work.
I like
that.
But
if we're at the point in WoW, which we are now, where you're literally having to pay teams of people to try and nullify mechanics, because that's what they're doing. They're actively trying to make mechanics not a problem.
Yes.
That kind of sucks. Because they've proven, and I think Halondrus would be the best example here, Halondrus didn't require any add-ons. The raid leaders were practically useless there. It was a game of personal play.
Don't be bad.
They can absolutely design fights like that in World of Warcraft, and they can make it work. Can they do them all the time? No. They can't do them all the time. WoW isn't acceptable to that. It wouldn't be a great time if everything was just like, okay, now we just need to carry bombs or whatever. Like, there's a limited scope in that environment to make that work. They would have to redesign how the bosses work, like animation-wise. Because you say FF14 does it. FF14 bosses work entirely differently. They work entirely differently and designed around the idea from the get-go, from day one, that there's no add-ons involved. World of Warcraft is not like that. Like, you can't visually, like, they can't even make the jailer walk properly, right? He's like slides across the floor. Let alone can he give very, very distinct animations as to what he's doing without everything being a slow build-up, which is not conducive to that game. So there's many arguments here. I'd love to see your thoughts on it. Personally, there's a middle ground here. There's so
much stuff going on in that UI. Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, it's hard to see what's going on. Just want mechanics to be more obvious without needing to read and scroll to see how the game works. Yeah, exactly. Like, a lot of the mechanics, like, I mean, to be honest, like, the Lost Ark mechanics on Vaulton are pretty fucking obvious. Well, if he spins whenever he's next to the wall, he breaks the wall. Oh, okay. So there's, like, a thing that spawns underneath you and you have to get out of it. So he spins his axe around, and, like, if his axe hits you, it knocks you back. Okay. Alright, yeah, it makes sense. So if he does the little triangle at you, you have to move out of it or it kills you. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty simple. Like, you don't need... It doesn't have to be complex or hard to understand. It should be evident, and it should be intuitive.
And yeah, part of it is selfish. Of course I want chat bubbles back in FF14, and I wouldn't mind not seeing ridiculous... I wouldn't see raids come to a stop while add-ons get made. So we can get around this mechanic. Like, there's a fine line in the middle. But I'd love to see your thoughts on it, guys. Let me know what you think. Bye-bye.
I felt this way for quite a while. Yeah, I felt this way for quite a while. I'll link the video for you guys to see it, because, like, the Vaulton incident... What do you mean, incident? What are you guys talking about, incident? Like, yes, we haven't killed Vaulton. It's hard to do. I went in there with a pug, and we had no communication, and we didn't kill it. That's the way it goes. I'm not amazing at the game. I just play the game. Yeah, we couldn't beat it, man. That's the way it goes. 1490? Yeah, that's right. I couldn't beat it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how high your item level is. You go off that edge, you're fucking dead. Yeah, that's all there is to it. Can't whale Vaulton? Yeah, I know. There's no you have no I am not, listen. That's why I am I do things. I'm a single player. I play a single player experience in an MMO. Velganos, no problem. Vaulton, that's an issue. That's it. You're pretty fried at the end of the stream, though. I'm fried about 30 minutes after starting. That's generally how long it takes for me to be tired of something like this. So, yeah, I thought this video was pretty good. There's also something else I wanted to look at today.